Hello and welcome to Sense of Responsibility. I'm Alec Lindenauer, a certified financial planning professional, husband, and chief allowance officer to 2 daughters. I'm also the creator of the Sense of Responsibility tools and how-to instruction parents need to raise their children into financially literate, money-savvy adults, even if they don't know much about finance themselves.
I'm Julie Frans, a chef entrepreneur at heart, wife, and mother of 2 middle school children. I also curate the Sense of Responsibility community so parents have a forum to ask questions, share success stories, and discuss their journeys. As a financial newbie myself, I'm also cultivating our group support system to help carve out my own family's path toward financial literacy. Well, Alec, we're back. So great to see you. I always just get so inspired when we're together and we're talking about COR, and I just love all of your experiences and your advice and all the great things you have to talk about. So very excited to dig into a question, a challenge, and a win today with you, since that's the format we're going to be following. How are you today?
I'm great. You know, summer's coming to an end, unfortunately, over here, but lots of challenges, wins, and questions, so that's a good thing.
Yep. Well, as we get more and more parents, on this COR journey and on their path, these questions are coming up. We love the questions. So for all you listeners out there, we are hungry for your questions. Please send them over. And if we can, we'll touch upon it in a blog or a podcast or social media. We love to, really dig in and try to answer those with you and for you and get the community involved too.
That's what the other parents really want to hear. One of the number one things that you've heard in terms of feedback is, I want to hear from other parents. I want to hear Alec and Julie talking about other parents and whatever format is best for them, whether that's in the newsletter, the blog, the podcast, or whatever it is. So yes, I would invite everybody the same.
And stories, right? I mean, not just questions. We want anecdotes. We want to hear your wins too. Wins are great.
Absolutely.
And challenges, all of the above. That's why we're here.
Yep.
One of our COR parents did pose a great question just this month, Alec. He was, I think, in between his first COR day and his second COR day. His kids are in there. Their family's ready. They're pumped. They're doing all the things. And he came to us and he asked the question, how do I put limits on spending, right? Because that's like a kind of a weird feeling for a parent who's always kind of monitored their kids' spending and allowance and been part of that. And then all of a sudden it's like, here's your spending money, go for it. And it might feel a little unsettling. So when he asked that question, Alec, what came to mind for you? What did you share with him? What do you want to share with the community about that?
So first, let me just level set a little bit, because I know you and I throw around COR Day, like everybody knows what that is. But for new listeners, so there's allowance day, and I think that's what the typical parent will do, right? They say, okay, here's your allowance, here's your money, and off you go. But a COR Day, sense of responsibility, COR, we love acronyms, is one that's centered around a strategy around that specific allowance day, and that parent knows exactly what to do around spending, saving, investing, and donating. And we're doing that on a regular basis. Our community COR Day, if you will, is the first Sunday of every month, where we would love for the COR community to all do it together, but sometimes it doesn't work for everybody. I know, Julie, you usually do it on Wednesdays, but the COR Day is that allowance day ritual, that is that, and then some. It's like allowance on steroids, if you will. And then we want to carry that COR Day philosophy through the rest of the month, where we're translating what was discussed on that COR Day into the rest of the month, right? So that's what we mean when we talk about COR Day. But so when this dad, when he posed that question to me, the answer that I had is the same answer that's in my house and for my 2 girls. And it is, you really are trying to give your child leeway, and really as much leeway as possible. The limits should really be the same limits that you have in your house, or your house rules. So one of mine, as an example, is glitter. I hate glitter. Anybody who's taken the courses, they know I talk about glitter, and I'm a no-go on glitter. It gets everywhere. So the kids can't buy glitter. Now, candy is one that comes up for a lot of parents, especially those elementary age kids, right? So my kids, when they were in elementary school, they would buy candy, but they can't have it for breakfast. It would go in the candy bin. We had, candy bin. If it was Halloween or whatever, it all gets stored in the closet in a particular place in the pantry. And that's the candy bin. So whenever the candy bin comes out, if they want to then eat their candy that they bought, that's fine. The idea is that you really want them to go out in the world and spend on the things that they're going to spend on. Now, I'm sure you can relate, Julie, that we look at what our kids spend on, and immediately, very often, what comes into our head is, well, that is frivolous. That is just flat out stupid. I would not spend my money on that. Well, yeah, I mean, you're not 7 years old. I'm not 7 years old. This dad, he's not 7 years old, but the kids are. So, God, the list of inane, frivolous things that my kids have purchased through the years, it goes on and on and on. We were just on family vacation in Maine, and we went to an amusement park. And my daughter, who's now in ninth grade, she spent, I don't even know how much money it was. It was $20, $30, like a big amount for her on the claw, right? You walk up to the machine and you put the money in, and the mechanical claw goes, and it goes down and it grabs the stuffed animal. Well, of course, it wasn't grabbing the stuffed animal. It would grab it, pick it up, and then drop it along the way. And she was heartbroken every single time, but she just kept feeding it dollars, feeding it dollars, feeding it dollars. And first of all, she doesn't need the stuffed animal. Second of all, those things are rigged. And I kept telling her, but she kept wanting to try it. So she didn't win the stuffed animal. She wasted her money. And all the while, I just kept saying, look, it's not what I would spend my money on. I'm telling you that these are rigged. It's supposed to do that so it gets you to pay more money, and it's working. So after the fact, she then also got these tickets. It was every time she lost, it would spit out tickets. You know, you can exchange 30 tickets for a pencil or something like that, right? So she was all ready, and she's like, okay, well, I spent $30, but I'm going to go get my pencil or my eraser or something like that. And now we're waiting online, and it's like this whole thing. And I was like, Grace, you're not doing this. You're going to have to give these to somebody. And so she gives all of her tickets to this little kid. So not only did she not even get a pencil, she literally got nothing out of it. I mean, how frivolous can you get? So half hour later, I asked her, I said, how do you feel about that? And she's like, I cannot believe I spent my money on that. That was really dumb. So I agree. I mean, I wouldn't do that. A few days later, we're in a souvenir shop, and, I bought a sweatshirt or something from me, and I told them I would get them each one souvenir during the trip. I did. She found something else she really wanted to buy. Well, she had no more money. She had like $3 left, and it cost, $10 or $12, something like that. So what did I do? I referred back. I said, okay, well, remember all that money that you went and you spent on the claw? This is why we don't do that. So one, she experienced regret 30 minutes after. She said, I can't believe I did that. I really have nothing to show for it. And I really wasn't going to win anyway, but I got so revved up about it. So I was glad that she recognized that in herself, right? That was first of all. I don't think I would have gotten that same response had it been my money. Because it was hers, it stuck with her for the 30 minutes. But then the follow-up lesson, a few days later in the souvenir shop, for her to recognize and now feel the impact again was valuable. So just because we think it's frivolous, meaning that just because we think that item isn't worth it, they might be getting some entertainment value out of it, for one, but there also might be future lessons out of it. So it goes back to, why are we doing this? Why are we giving them allowance? Why is it a core day? Why are we, even teaching them about spending? What is the point? Is the point to make sure that every time they spend money, they're getting a lot of value out of it? Look, I know I'm not. I rented a movie the other day, and whatever, it was like $5 or something like that. I have Netflix. There's plenty on Netflix I haven't seen. I wanted to see that movie. I paid the $5, and someone would look at that and say, well, that's frivolous. I don't like Marvel movies, right? What's frivolous to one person isn't frivolous to another. And for us as parents, it can be really valuable right then, a little bit after then, a few days later, a few weeks later, or, I don't know about a few years later, but it can be valuable for a very long time. What we're trying to do is to get them to practice spending mindfully more than anything else. So as long as they're doing that, and as long as you are using that strategically, you just want to stay within the confines of your house rules. So they know there are parameters that they must follow, but they have a lot of leeway for them to practice. That's the key.
Totally agree. And on the candy topic, I mean, I hate candy. I think candy's the devil. And Cassidy loves candy. John likes it, but Cassidy is like a fiend for candy. But I think, in her process, she's really learned the value of a dollar, and that if she has X amount of dollars to spend in a month's time, she's going to want to spend that on clothes and accessories. She knows what it feels like to waste it on stupid candy. She's done it enough times. Had I not let her do that and like take that money to Rite Aid and just waste it on candy, she wouldn't have come to that on her own, like you're always talking about, that they need to come to it on their own. So now she'll say, Mom, will you buy me a Starbucks? Mom, will you buy me a boba, a bag of candy, whatever? And I say, no, absolutely not. That's not something that's important to me. You can spend your money. And she always says, no, I'm going to save my money. So letting them make a few mistakes and feel that pain and regret is kind of what you're going for a little bit, I think, in this process when they're young.
And isn't that amazing? Because you know that if it wasn't their money, right? If it wasn't Cassidy's money, and you said that she would, might stomp her foot or give you a look or roll her eyes or ask, 100 times. But how much shorter is that conversation now than it used to be?
Yeah. Yeah. And she goes, oh, okay, fine, but she gets it. She's not going to argue.
Yeah.
She's going to put her foot down and then walk away and know the reason. The thing that she spends her money on that I just think is so dumb, Alec, speaking of dumb things, I mean, the claw, Grace hopefully learned after that one time what a waste that was. Cassidy's thing is nails, acrylic nails. I hate acrylic nails, like for myself. I'm just, look at my nails. I'm just not that way. I would spend my money on so many other things. Yes, they look good. They click and they make you feel sophisticated. She loves them. It's $50 a time to get those fills, and it takes a long time, and I have to drive her there, and it's a whole thing. So for me, I am not putting any money towards it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I'll support her by driving her there and driving her back, and I'll tell her which ones I like or whatever. She does know, talking about house rules, like how you're talking about the candy and the house rules, they have to be short. I mean, if she comes back with talons, that will be the end of that forever.
See, both of our girls are learning about the claw.
Yeah. So, so, we do have a little bit of rules there, and she knows, and there's a trust thing because I leave her in there on her own and she knows. But, the thing is, she really likes clothes and accessories, and she likes to spend her spend right after allowance day or core day. She wants to go up to the village and go to her favorite boutiques, and she usually spends every penny within the first week. Then she needs her nails. Her nails start, clipping off, and
chipping,
she knows she's got to get them chipping. Yeah, they start just kind of peeling, and she goes, well, it's going to be more expensive if I wait and they all come off. I'd rather get them done now so that I can save a little bit of money, but I don't have any more money. Mom, what can I do to make money? And I'll look around the house, and maybe there will be something that I need her to do, but quite often there's not, and I don't usually pay for chores. So we run into a problem, right? And so she's learning now halfway through the month, I need to figure out how to make more money. Well, we have this barking dog next door, and long story short, I had reached out to the owner to say, hey, is there anything we can do to help you with your barking dog? Because it's keeping us up at night, and it's really problematic for us and our family. And he said, well, I'll, try this or that. But what would really help is if somebody could help with walking the dog a couple times a week, and I'd be happy to pay them. So he knows that we have an almost 12 and 13-year-old here. And so right away, Cassidy goes, what? How much? How many walks? How much money is it going to be? And so we were going back and forth, and the neighbor said if she can walk the dog 8 times a week, for however long she wants to keep going on through into school and whatever, 8 times a week, I'll pay her $40 a week. That is a great deal for an 11 or 12-year-old. And all she has to do is a little 15-minute loop around the block. So together, she and I sat down and we mapped out the next 2 weeks, according to her camp and cheer and travel schedule and all of that. What are those 8 times? And she made a nice little poster in her room with all the dates and times, and she crosses them off one by one. But man, she's getting up. She's going straight over there. She knows how to get the dog by herself and take the dog on a walk. So lo and behold, the dog is not barking anymore.
Wow.
I think
now what a win.
Things.
We talked about a win.
Yeah.
Everybody's sleeping better.
Everybody's sleeping. Yeah, I think they actually also put him in another room at night, which really helped. I'm glad we brought it up to them. But yeah, I mean, the bigger win here is really seeing Cassidy's determination to make that money because she knows exactly what those nails cost and what it means to her, how valuable it is. She doesn't want to sacrifice her allowance on nails. She knows what that's earmarked for. So she's really learning to hustle and to make the money, work for her. So that's been really exciting to see. We're only on
That's
day
amazing.
3 or 4, so we'll see. I hope the consistency stays, but getting a $40 payout at the end of the week, that's really great for her age. So I hope
That's
that keeps her
amazing.
motivated. Yeah.
So let's correlate that to COR. How much of that of that win do you relate to COR as opposed to what would have been? So now you're in probably month 7, month 8 of doing this.
I think the biggest thing that I can correlate is her understanding the value of money and her understanding how to budget her money and work within what she values the most. And so over the course of this practice, like I was mentioning the candy and the boba and the poppets and the stupid trinkets, she's done all of that. And so over the course of this, she understands now these are the things I want and need. These are the things I have to buy on a monthly basis with my money. And she knows that the clothes she likes and the nails she wants cost more than what she's getting for her allowance. She has realized she has to work for that, extra. So I feel like this is a huge win when I can talk to her
Huge.
about the
That's
costs of
amazing.
things. Yeah, winning. And then I do
That's
have
great.
another, little piece to that story, which would maybe be considered the challenge that we were going to talk to too. But as long as we're on the topic of the nails, I was also really proud of her for taking the initiative and calling the nail place before we went and asking how much fills are. So they said fills are $35, and she had exactly $35 on her debit card at that time. So she thought, okay, that will be fine. I might need to borrow a little bit from mom, for the tip or whatever. But she was really calculated with her money. And so she went and
So excuse me, of course, if I don't even know what a fill is, but that's okay. We get the point. Go on.
yeah, you either get new
That's
ones
okay.
or you get fills, and it's cheaper to get
Okay.
fills. Anyways, so it's gonna be $35. So anyways, she brings me in. She goes, Mom, I need help. They're telling me it's 40. Or no, I didn't know that. She just said I need help paying because I don't have enough. So I said, I'm loaning you this money. You need to make it up to me. We do the whole credit bill and everything. So she understood that if she was borrowing from me, she was going to need to pay me back. But we give the guy a tip and we walk out and it's $50 that she paid. So we're down kind of by the car. And she said, it's really strange because I called and they said $35, but then they charged me $45. And I said, hold up. Why didn't you say something when he charged $45 if you'd already called and asked? And she goes, no, that's so embarrassing, Mom. I don't want to ask. And I said, no, we need to go back up and ask. She goes, no, I am not going up. I'm mortified. I'm getting in the car. And I said, well, I'm going up because we need to know for the future what the discrepancy is there. So it wasn't like I was like marching up angry. I mean, I was just nicely walking
Just
back
asking.
up
Sure.
to see, yeah, hey, why? So I just said, how much are fills? And she said $35. And I said, well, why was she charged $45? And she said, oh, the design was really intricate. So it's $10 extra for design. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you very much. See you next time. So I explained that to Cassidy. But the thing that I found really interesting is that we've really taken that money being a taboo topic out of our family, right? We talk about money. We talk about every little, thing about money. So why was it so uncomfortable for her to ask them the discrepancy of $10? So I said, you really need to understand where your money is going. And if you're quoted something, you have to be comfortable with asking, why? It's your money. And so it
Yeah.
could be, and I guess that goes back to the learning with small amounts, and letting your kids practice with money right now. I'd rather that happen right now with a $10
Exactly.
discrepancy on nails than a $1,000 discrepancy on a used car or
Yeah.
something like that can get bigger.
Totally.
It was a lot of learning moments, the nails I might not be a fan of, but because I'm in the COR mindset, I'm able to make lemonade out of lemons, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying before. A frivolous purchase, just because you think the purchase itself is frivolous, doesn't mean there's not a ton of teaching opportunities within it. So you can kind of harvest it from there, which is exactly what you did. And there is a big win in there in that I know you said, look, now you're talking about money and as a family, and you weren't doing that before. So that in itself is a win for everybody in the family, for sure. I do think that there's a missed opportunity there. So Cassidy didn't go. She stayed put. And then you explained it to her afterwards, correct?
Yes. Did you think I should take her kicking and screaming the whole way up the stairs?
No, definitely not. I think that it's important to try.
I did try, Alec. I did try.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So it's certainly
You know
not your
Cassidy,
fault.
right? Just you know
Yes.
Cassidy. She is not one to yeah.
Right.
So,
But the
yes, I
stomp
agree, missed
and
opportunity, but
yeah.
I did my best. Yeah.
Then you claimed every opportunity possible. That's for sure. I think you modeled for her the behavior of an educated consumer because you want them to be educated consumers. You demonstrated that behavior to her. So even though she didn't go, it's not like it was a totally missed opportunity. You still demonstrated that for her in an important way. So I think that was great.
Right. This is what we need more of, Alec. We need more sharing of questions, challenges, wins, and anecdotes. And I really, really want to hear where people's minds are shifting and where this transformation is happening. Because even though you've been in it for years and I've been in it for 8 months, we still have stories every day. I mean, almost every single day, I feel like there's some opportunity if we're just looking for it.
Absolutely. Julie, for the challenge part of this podcast, I know we were going to talk about a challenge that you're having. So let's hear about that. You're 7-8 months in, like you said, and there's sort of a lull that's been happening with the kids, which is totally normal, but let's hear about that.
With Cassidy, it's not so much because she does love to spend. She looks forward to that allowance very, very much. John, he finds a lot of reasons to need money through the course of the month, but it's not front and center for his mind all the time. He's a 13-year-old super energetic boy, and stopping to take a pause and do the work of COR, even though it's 10 or 15 minutes. If we're expeditious, it still is like work to him, and he's like, how long is this going to take? When are we going to be done? I need to get on my bike and go to my friends, and so then it causes this real frustration with me. And I'm throwing my hands up saying, well, fine, if you don't want the money, you don't get the money. You can figure it out, in the month. And I think he thinks that whenever he's ready for it, that's when we're going to do it, that he has this perfect moment. Maybe it's before bed one day. And, and I try to keep it really consistent. Like you've always said, Alec, consistency and strategy. The COR day has its own consistent strategy within it, but even sitting at the same place, at the same table, doing, the process, the ritual of it is really important to me. So it becomes this argument and this push and pull, and John is impatient and intense, and so it gets heightened, and so it's been a lull in terms of like his excitement about it, but then it causes me some frustration. So I guess I just like to tap into your expertise of, do you have any ideas on how we can get that back together, or how I can really respond? I don't want to get upset about it. I want to have a really good answer that's consistent and strategic.
I think the most important thing to know is that lulls in any of this stuff, and when I say this stuff, I really mean parenting, it's normal. I mean, this stuff is hard. Parenting is not easy. I don't know about you, but my kids didn't come with a manual. I wish they did. That would have been so much easier. But they absolutely didn't. And if you think back to, I know that one of the analogies you've used in the past is that sometimes it's like potty training, right? Wait until you think they're ready, but then there's this struggle, this power struggle, and do you give them an M&M if they go? If they don't, it's like this whole thing. So the most important thing is to recognize it is hard. Kids can be temperamental, but like with so many things that we do as parents, sometimes we have to give tough love. So I have definitely done that with my kids. In the beginning, I would say there were times where I was the person who directed it, right? I said, hey, we're going to do this today. We're sitting down, and we made it happen. After a little while, and when I say a little while, it was actually after a couple of years, I started saying, you know what, you're the one who needs the spending money, and I don't want to badger you about it. I want to do it with you because I think it's important. One, I know there's things you want to buy. And two, I want to teach you. Teaching you is very important to me. So I put the onus upon them after a while, or I would remind them once and, and that was it. So what happened if we missed that? In the beginning, I would say we went more along the lines of, okay, well, you missed last quarter, so I'm going to pay you twice this time. And we tried that. But what I found was much more effective was, hey, we missed it, and Sunday is going to be a week that we're behind, and we have no plans. And I want you to understand, and I say to my kids, I say, listen, Grace, Eve, I'm telling you that I have no plans on Sunday. So it is up to you. If you want money this month, it's up to you to tell me, hey, Daddy, I'd like to do it. But what you can't do is at night, like after dinner on this Sunday night, I'm done. I'm shut off. That's your opportunity, is before dinner anytime on Sunday. Or I will say, I am going here, or we're going here as a family. So your window is from, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. If you forget, that's it. That money is gone. Period. End of story. And I held to that. That only had to happen really one or two times for them to really get it, because it's a long time to go a month without money. I don't care how old you are, to not buy anything, to not be able to, whether it's a frivolous purchase, whether it's, get your nails done or buy some candy or meet up with your friends, go to dinner, whatever it is. It's a long time. So
Just to have a little bit of independence.
Absolutely. I mean, that,
right? Like
yeah,
money means independence and being able to do things. And I know mine, like really, that would be a very long time for them
absolutely.
to
It
not
sounds
be
like
able
just
to
what we were
do
talking
that.
about with Cassidy's nails. I mean, if she's trying to do it, once a week, now she's going to have to make a decision. She's getting the $40 from her new job, but she's not getting this other money. Now she's going to have to bypass whatever clothing item she was planning for that month. Yeah, those choices and
Mhm.
priorities. So tough love is hard for us parents, for sure. This is an opportunity to do it with money and have it really work well.
Yeah, I think I just also need to like post it on a calendar. I don't do that, and they don't know what day it is, especially in the summertime. They have no clue. And so I think I'm doing something wrong by springing it on them. Like, okay, now it's time to do this because I'm ready. But
Right.
I also need to take accountability and say to them, hey, tomorrow's Sunday or tomorrow's Wednesday, whatever we're doing. And at this time, you need to be ready. And so I can also do better.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Look, we know from when they were toddlers, right? It was, if you said, come, we're leaving, and they were playing with blocks, you'd get a tantrum. But if you said, hey, kids, we're leaving in 10 minutes, this is your 10-minute warning, and then you went in and said, hey, kids, this is your 2-minute warning, we're leaving, and then it was, okay, it's time to go, you got a completely different response. The exact same thing.
Totally.
Teen toddlers.
Becoming a better parent as we speak, Alex. See, it's not just about teaching our kids about money. I'm learning how to be a better parent. No,
We all are.
I do feel like this program is helping me also grow in so many ways too. So it's very transformative. I want to share it with more people, Alec. To all you listeners out there, we do have our course. It's live. It's up on our website. And if you know parents that could also use some guidance and coaching on creating this awesome, strategic, consistent allowance approach with their kids, we're here. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, the current class that's up there is our flagship course, which is getting your elementary age child on the money savvy path. And for you podcast listeners, you can use a coupon code CORPOD15, CORPOD15, and that will get you a 15% discount.
I really wish I had started when my kids were in elementary school, but I can tell you I'm glad I started when I did. And I think that every day that goes by that a parent waits is, it's time lost. I would say get on that train, use that coupon code, share it with your friends, and hopefully we can have a lot more kids out there understanding how to spend money wisely.
I agree. We do have plenty of free resources also. The blog is excellent, if I do say so myself. We like to go through a lot of the anecdotes and help parents in that. And also, of course, subscribe to the podcast, whether Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you listen.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, Alec. Thanks to our listeners, and can't wait to connect next time.
Teach sensibly, everyone.